Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Credible Perspectives. This is season 2, episode 3. We will be joined by Miss Stephanie Nguku, who is the founder of Upscale Consulting and has worked with businesses at different growth stages, guiding them on structuring, compliance, and investor readiness. We're here to talk about how and what small and medium enterprises in Kenya do or can do to attract investors, to attract funding, and how to navigate also the tax system while doing all this. So karibu sana, Madam Stephanie.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for honoring the invite. We'll just begin from the beginning. How did Upscale begin? What was the gap or problem you found in Kenya that made you decide, let me create this?
Yeah, thank you. So my background is finance, and I worked in the financial sector for 13 years plus, majorly in credit and risk management. And that was in the bank. So we used to evaluate businesses for capital. And the alarming rate that we discovered at the time is that 70% of the businesses that would come to apply for loans would not be able to get through. And it's not because the businesses are not good ideas. Mm-hmm. They were really pretty good businesses, but they lacked structure, and there were gaps that would potentially pose risks. And the bank would, find that they cannot be able to fund them until they probably fix those. And so when I left banking in 2016, I felt there was that gap in really being able to help the SMEs be able to know what are these issues, why they get turned down by the funders, the investors, the banks, and how do they address this gap. And so that's how Upscale was found. Really, pretty much the end goal is to help businesses to upscale. Okay. But while at it, our area where we play is on investor readiness. So preparing businesses to be fund ready, to be investment ready, so that they can be able now to engage with the banks, with the investors more effectively, and increase their success rate to access capital.
All right, that's interesting. So what are these gaps that you kept seeing recurring over and over in the businesses when they kept coming for us for loans?
Yeah. So most of the gaps, like I said, a lack of structure. Mm-hmm. A lot of businesses you find, you start with an idea, and as long as you have identified that gap or that problem, and you hit the market, you start engaging customers, and they're buying. So as an entrepreneur, that is exciting. But then you get to a point where you want to scale, and then now there's need for external funding. And for you now to get external funding, there are requirements on what you need to reorganize your house and have certain structures for you, for the external funders to feel comfortable and not exposed. And so those are some of so lack of structures was one of the gap. And again, also others would be issues around clarity in terms of what really they are offering to the customers. There are basic fundamentals, so to speak, that as a business you need to really focus in. So there is, you have a very clear value proposition. You understand the numbers as well, solid financials. That also lacks with most enterprises. And again, also some of them would probably still struggle with traction. In terms of, buy-in by customers, the product. So that means there would be a challenge with sustainability. And for a funder investor, they would find that is a risk because maybe down the line you'll have a challenge to pay back. So lack of structure, I would say, that majorly is the main. And again, also dealing really with the fundamentals in ensuring that, you are offering, what you're offering to the market is what really customers need, and it is sustainable.
Okay. Yeah. Let's change focus a bit to the investors.
Yeah.
What you've mentioned sustainability, which is
Yeah.
the key word going
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
in the world right now. But apart from ensuring that the proposed business or activity that the SME is looking into doing, what other things do investors look for?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so investors, of course, and this is something we always say, money attracts money.
Mm-hmm.
So investors would be very keen to see that your business is making money, and it's making money because to go back to the word traction, that have you really been able to go out to the market, sold that product, you have customers who are taking your product and they like it. And that means that, you are actually solving a problem. So if that has been validated, is a first place, to be. And then again, what is the size of that market that you're targeting? And this is where I'll pull in the word scalability, is the model for your business. How scalable is it in that it can be able to serve a big market? Because that means, again, you're going to be able to make more money. And if the investor invests in you, that they are going to be also being able to make money. So the issue of, that sustainability traction, very important for them. Secondly, they are very keen on the team. The team has to be capable and committed, and they really show that they have the right skills and the ability, because you can have a great business idea, but execution is zero, or it's a challenge. So you need to be able to demonstrate that, the capacities there to be able to deliver. And the other thing that they're very keen on is their numbers, because that is the heart of the matter. That's the only way you measure how the business is performing. So, and a lot of times you find, the lack of, financial records, or sometimes SMEs or entrepreneurs have a challenge with keeping track of their numbers. Or if those questions are asked about numbers, there's no clarity. They're not able to respond to them. So that is also an area that as entrepreneurs, they need to be, understand pretty much, the performance, the focus, what does the future look like? What are the assumptions to support those future numbers? And because most of the times they tend to delegate that to accountants. But now when you are sitting on the table, it is you who will be negotiating, not the accountant. So they need to take time and also be able to understand what is, in the financials.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from you is that most investors want to invest in an already tested, for lack of a better term, to use tested idea.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to get an investor who is going to start with you from afresh because you don't have proof of concept.
Yeah, I can say to a large extent, yes, because starting when you say you invest, even you yourself, when you say you want to invest, let's say, for example, you want to invest, and what are the fundamentals or the basics you look at? You're looking on how to weigh between risk and return, of course. So. It's a risk if you have not started. How do I know for sure that this idea is actually going to kick off? And, even before I think about the return. So it is tested, it is tried, it is working. So I'm just plugging in to be able to make it grow. However, we have just a few cases where you have, maybe you have a very out of, a very unique idea, and probably how you have thought through it. It makes sense. You have thought out through the concept or the proposal, whatever it is. You have really thought about it in a way that it does make sense. So there are, angel investors who can consider at that stage to back you up, probably to develop the product. And to walk you to see that. But I would say in most cases, most investors would be looking at least a tried and a tested idea, some skin in the game, whether you have even started with your own savings, however little.
Yes.
It shows that, there's commitment.
Yeah.
You are believing in what really, but then as an investor, I'm not going to be the guinea pig to to put my money in something that is not, that's quite a risk. So that really is the rationale around that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
There's a word you've used consistently, scalability. What makes one idea scale?
Yeah.
And the others fail?
Yeah. Good question. So the first thing is around, sometimes scaling is seen like doing a lot of things. And but it's really around that. From what I've learned from experience is actually being able to identify your area of specialization and focusing on that, building more clarity on it. And so you've been able to serve this number of customers. It is working very well. You have good feedback. And so you now find a way of reaching more customers and, replicate that model. So, scalability is about replicating a model which is working. So that clarity of focus is very important. Sometimes you find entrepreneurs, you may think, I'm going to start this business and I start another one. But there's that danger of, there being distraction and not being able to do the best that you can do in your business. So that lack of focus. So focus is very important because it helps you to really narrow down to doing what you can do well, and then now you can be able to replicate that model. The other thing is about having systems versus running it in a hustle mode. We have this hustle. We have. Really, we talk about hustling a lot,
yes.
and to some extent, whereas it's good, but when you put structure to your hustle, then it becomes easier now to also be able to scale, because an investor wants to find structure, and even for you, structure and systems, you'll be able to scale when that is there, because as the business grows, you find that as a founder, you are not able to do, everything that needs to be done. That's where you started as a hustle mode. But as you if you want to scale, you put systems and structures. Then now you can be able to bring a team to plug into structures, and so scaling becomes easier. Okay. Again, also the other to be able to scale, also you also need capital and courage. Some founders or entrepreneurs will shy off from debt, or because there's always that fear of, I may take on debt, I'm not able to pay back. Others, if it is equity kind of capital, there's also the fear of dilution. But again, it's also looking at this funding I'm taking on, how, what value, how is it going to be able to grow my business? So it's not about, if that is very clear, that is going to add value to my business is going to grow, then that's a good place to be. Yeah.
So I want us to now look at the external factors, because what we've discussed mostly is the internal, what do I say? Internal, I lose the word. But basically what encourages people from within the business in scaling and in trying to make this business work. Let's look at externally. What are some of the things that discourage or make it a bit difficult to scale your business? And I want us to also, as we start heading into the direction of tax conversation, amongst others.
Okay, what are the external factors? So some of the external factors, when we are doing analysis in terms of a business, there's a type of usually done in businesses, and trying to check what are some of the factors which affect a business. there is what we call a pastel kind of, analysis. And that can, that cuts across political, environmental, economical, social, technical, and legal issues. So pastel is actually an acronym of all those. So sometimes as a business looks to scale, some of the factors which can affect externally would be such. And again, also as a business, also there could be also emerging issues around a particular sector which supposedly were not expected, and maybe this business has not thought way ahead, or that expectation was not there. And so you find also a business, probably when they started, they had projected that this is how a business will go, but because of other emerging issues, for example, sometimes back before COVID, office space was a big deal. Yeah. But right now we are finding that people are working very comfortably, from the houses, and so you find there's a reduction of taking that, office space, for example. That's just been an example. So such emerging issues can also affect what one projected would be the reason would affect their ability to scale. So other things would be around, have they also thought through their critical success factors that they need to have in place so that they can be able to actually implement what they say they will do. So the foundations are usually very important, the fundamentals, having those very clear from the onset, just so that you are clear on what you need, so that you already have seen this is the business, this is the potential it has, and so this is what we need in place so that we can be able to succeed. So I would say also the lack of clarity and putting together those can also make a business struggle to scale.
Okay. Let's now move into taxation in upcoming businesses. You've said lack of clarity. Is the tax regime an area in which some of these businesses are not clear or don't have adequate information when they are starting up? And is it a solution that they need to have?
Yeah, for sure. Tax is a big element, as a business, because there's expectation by the regulator that you need to pay tax. Yeah. So it is important for, entrepreneurs to be able to know what tax obligations there are for their businesses. True enough, when, they're starting off, maybe it's not something they really think about up until when they grow.
Yeah.
And when they grow, that is when the big man really, there was so and so here.
Yeah.
And then now they decide, now we are going to go way back since when you started. So it's an area that really needs a lot of information right from the onset, from registration, because like some businesses have made mistakes when they are doing registration. They found that they have signed up to obligations which they should not be viable for from the onset, and probably, for example, things like VAT and other types of taxes. So that's an area for sure that businesses need to be informed. There is a gap. There is need to share that knowledge.
Okay. Let's talk a bit about cash flow in upcoming businesses. What steps do you recommend that businesses take to ensure that this cash flow, because it's also a direct, it's directly related to taxation as well. So what do you encourage businesses to do to ensure cash flow in their businesses?
Yeah, of course, the cash flow is like blood in your in your body, and for businesses. So if that flow and I think actually from the blood flow, cash flow. Yeah.
Like
So
that.
if there is no cash, the business will suffer because there are obligations, day-to-day operations that need to be catered for. And so it becomes very paramount as a founder to think how well to manage, cash flow. And this is really looking at the inflows, that is your revenues, how you're making money, vis-a-vis how the money, the outflows, the expenses that are there, and how to, maintain a very good balance around that. So sometimes if that is overlooked, actually that is where the challenge comes. So one needs to be very cognizant. What are we expecting, or what is coming in? And, and what is supposed to go out, so that there is a proper planning to be able to meet your obligations. And in review with of tax, tax sometimes is seen like, it is something that, it is supposed to be paid. It's an obligation.
Yes.
But it's not really taken keen as, by founders, probably because they feel, it's not one of the most important, expenses to be taken care of. But the truth is, when you are accounting for any other expense, so tax needs also, you also need to consider that, that this is a tax expense. And so whatever obligations or what needs to be paid as you are doing your calculations, you also need to account for that, because usually what happens is that we take care of everything and then we are like, oops, we have run out of cash. But yeah, tax needs to be also treated as a tax expense. Yeah.
All right. Your business is not just limited to Kenya.
No, it is not.
What made you decide to expand to other countries?
Yeah, because the problem is not just in Kenya. It is in other countries. That's the first thing, and that's the reality. And having worked also with development partners, some who are delivering programs in other countries. So that for sure opened our eyes to see that the opportunity is not just in Kenya, it's out there. So we have enterprises across the region. For now, it's across the region. Okay. Probably at some point we'll go global, but we realize that that problem is there. So we are, and the problem being the access to capital. So we have enterprises across the region. So pretty much we are looking to be able to support them on particularly that, being able to be investment ready and to access finance.
Right. So when you're consulting with the businesses, say a Kenyan business trying to expand to other countries, what tax obligations are you usually looking out for as you advise them?
Yeah. So the one thing that we talk about is that, and I see that investors are very keen on that. Actually, even when they're investing in enterprises, they want to see what kind of tax obligations that are viable to them. So, different countries have different tax regimes. And as a business, you need to be aware of, before you move to the countries, what tax regimes they are and how that affect your business. So there are also structures that how you structure your business or where you register the business also will determine what tax obligations that there are. So when we are looking at, the basics or the fundamentals of what we need to look at, actually tax is one of the things. And so you just want to be carded. So as we move here, or are there some, ways to be able to navigate that tax, maybe between Kenya or whichever country, there are probably some treaties or some sort that you can be able to benefit from. So it is important to look at that before you start engaging, with another country.
Okay. Right. So when you're advising these entrepreneurs, And you had mentioned, just to go back to the beginning, you talked about structures.
Yeah.
Are there certain structures that they need to put in place for tax specifically? Because I know when you are talking about structure, there's the management structure. So you're looking at the organogram of the office, etc. But when it comes to taxation, are there certain structures that they need to put in place to ensure that the businesses are viable, sustainable, and can scale?
Yeah. So structures would be around, especially when putting systems like systems whereby, it's a plug and play kind of system, whereby you see, like, for example, you start a business, you have a clear business model here. And so you're just replicating that model to another country. So there's a system which is working here. So you need to figure out how the system that you plug in, how is it also, are you able also to be able to scale it to that other country that they can still be able to? So you're able to monitor that business from wherever you are. If it is to do with the tax structures, also depends on how the business is registered and or where the business is registered. Yeah, we have businesses which are being registered in other countries because of those tax, incentives. Yeah.
Is that even legal, doing that? Trying to register in a different country to run away from certain taxes in this country?
Well, it depends. When it comes to tax, you can either, they're avoiding, which is not good. And then there is other ways of, going around it, depending on also some other, treaties which have been signed between this country and other countries. And if one can be able to, one can be able to find how to benefit from those, that is the right way to go. But doing it illegally, of course, it is not advisable. Yeah, transparency is important.
It's most important. Yeah. I think so too. So looking forward, what sectors, I believe I can ask, are there opportunities for investment or for growth? What are people looking at doing?
Yeah, so the kind of sectors that we're seeing a lot of interest right now, for example, is there is a climate and green sectors, green, and that has to do with clean cooking initiatives, off-grid solar, and so those are some of the areas that under green. And a green sector and climate that we have seen a lot of interest. And others around agri, of course, agri, you have to feed the nation. Yes, people need to eat. It's huge. When you look at the whole value chain from the farmers all the way to the table, it's a huge opportunity right there. So agro-processing is an area that we see investors are very keen on. That is value addition. Logistics also is there. And also agri-tech, are there also tech-enabled solutions that you can also bring up to also solve problems in agri. The others, of course, fintech. Fintech is big, payment systems, credit access. Those are also other spaces which really are also huge and highly scalable. The word still scalable.
Are we moving from sustainability to scalable?
Those two actually are so key.
Okay.
Yeah, scalable, sustain. Yeah. So if you can scale sustainably,
yes,
then you're in business.
We're home and dry.
Yeah. So that, and also digitalization for SMEs. Their systems in how they are doing their operations or just their businesses is also big, because we are in the tech world that we are moving into. So those, but health sector, healthcare also is also there. There will always be issues of health. So if there is health tech solutions, affordable way of getting, providing healthcare, also that would be an area of interest.
Okay. Interesting.
And manufacturing.
Oh, really, despite the... I'm scared if I say this, I might find myself in problems.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's usually a high ripple effect where manufacturing happens. Think about value addition, probably from waste that is happening. And again, also, so there's value addition, the jobs that are created, the tax that is paid.
It's quite there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you've given us all these areas in which investors are really looking at, where is the scale tipping at this point? Are there more investors looking to invest in Kenya, or are there more entrepreneurs looking for investors?
Good. So that's a good question. So we in our conversations, we always talk about the demand and supply, a bit of, this capital. So demand being the founders who are looking for capital, and then supply are the investors. So the truth is, both of them are looking for each other. But but there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect in that the funders are looking for credible, businesses. And the businesses are also many. But remember the problem we are looking to solve as upscale, where there is lack of structure and that lack of preparedness. That's where the mismatch happens. So the funding is there. When you think, I always say, look at the banks, and their doors are always open and they have money.
Yeah.
And the investors also have money. But I would say now the disconnect is where the problem lies. So they are there as many as the supply and the demand is there. It's just now being, as a founder, positioning your business very well to be able to attract that right capital.
Okay, which is what we've discussed, and what the gaps you're trying to solve some of the problems. So where can we find you? Where is Upscale found?
You can find me at Nairobi Garage, Kilimani.
Okay.
And so that's where we are based. And we can have that conversation. If you are a founder and you're looking for funding, so we can be able to work with you and see how we can structure your business properly to be able to build your business. And so we work with the founders, and we also work with the investors as well. We also build a network because we have a pipeline of founders who are looking for funding. And probably that is also the kind of founder or business you're looking for could be also in our database. So we serve both the demand and supply, in providing that match.
Thank you so much for joining us. I think that's it for this particular episode. We will be finding you at the East Africa Tax Summit in September.
All right.
Yeah. You've heard it from her. Some of the keywords right now across businesses and scaling are actually scalability, the sustainability, and just the idea of having focus and discipline to ensure that our businesses grow. And so we are looking forward to having this and more conversations in the East Africa Tax Summit that will be coming up at the end of September. You will find the details down below. Thank you so much once again for joining us in this episode.